รายการต่อไปนี้เป็นรายการทั่วไปสามารถรับชมได้ทุกวัย
สนับสนุนโดยแลกเงินด้วยบัตรเครดิตกสิกรไทยเที่ยวก่อนจ่ายทีหลังไม่มีค่าธรรมเนียมผ่อนชำระได้จากธนาคารกสิกรไทย
สวัสดีค่ะเมื่อพูดถึงสตาร์ทอัพที่ประสบความสำเร็จระดับโลกหนึ่งในนั้นก็คือ Airbnb เป็นแพลตฟอร์มที่ให้บริการด้านที่พักโดยที่ Airbnb เองไม่มีที่พักเป็นของตัวเองแต่เป็นตัวกลางในการเชื่อมโยงคนที่มีห้องว่างให้เช่ากับนักท่องเที่ยวที่กำลังหาที่พัก Airbnb ประสบความสำเร็จอย่างสูงจนได้ชื่อว่าเป็นสตาร์ทอัพที่มา disrupt หรือสร้างความสั่นสะเทือนให้กับอุตสาหกรรมโรงแรมวันนี้เราจะพูดคุยกับคุณเนท เบลชาซิกหนึ่งในผู้ก่อตั้งและผู้บริหารด้านกลยุทธ์ของ Airbnb ถึงเบื้องหลังและวิสัยทัศน์ความสำเร็จของ Airbnb ในวันนี้รวมถึงพูดคุยเกี่ยวกับโครงการใหม่ล่าสุด Airbnb Experiences ซึ่งจะมาท้าทายอุตสาหกรรมการท่องเที่ยวค่ะ Airbnb ก่อตั้งขึ้นในปี 2008 ที่เมืองซานฟรานซิสโกสหรัฐอเมริกาโดยเพื่อน 3 คนได้แก่โจเกบเบียร์ไบรอันเชสกี้และเนท เบลชาซิกAirbnb เป็นแพลตฟอร์มให้คนที่มีห้องว่างหรือที่พักที่ว่างอยู่มาเปิดให้คนเช่าพักไม่ว่าจะเป็นอพาร์ตเมนต์บ้านปราสาทวิลล่าโดยที่นักท่องเที่ยวสามารถเลือกที่พักที่ให้ความรู้สึกแตกต่างจากโรงแรมทั่วไปในราคาที่เหมาะสมสิ่งที่น่าสนใจคือ Airbnb ให้บริการเช่าที่พักโดยไม่ต้องมีที่พักเป็นของตัวเองเลยแต่เป็นแค่ตัวกลางที่ได้รายได้จากการเก็บค่าธรรมเนียมบริการจากผู้ให้เช่าและผู้เช่าปัจจุบัน Airbnb มีรายการที่พักกว่า 4 ล้านที่พักใน 191 ประเทศทั่วโลกมีแขกเข้าพักผ่าน Airbnb แล้วกว่า 200 ล้านคน
It has been 9 years. Have you ever imagined that Airbnb would become so big so fast?
Really not. This company was started from a kind of humble beginning where the three of us were actually just trying to pay the rent on our apartment one weekend, where we noticed that all the hotels were sold out and we decided to rent out an extra bedroom. And in doing so, we hosted 3 people, made $1,000 and made some new friendships. That one weekend has now, 9 years later, morphed into 220 million guests now having stayed in other people's homes using Airbnb. And there are now 4 million homes around the world being offered through our platform.
What does it show? That people simply can trust each other?
Yes, I think that's the biggest innovation is around trust. And I think one of our customers said, my friends asked me, how can you trust a stranger? And he said, my attitude is that a stranger is just a friend I haven't met yet. And so I think that's a very powerful mindset shift. But of course, you have to earn that. And you have to help people to have that mindset. And a lot of our product innovations have helped to ensure the trust of the platform.
But you do have some issues about crimes and unwanted incidents as well. How do you deal with all that?
It's extremely infrequent. We've had 220 million guests use the platform to date, and almost all of those trips have been positive. But there's a lot of technology behind the scenes to help keep things safe. One of the most important things we do is how we handle the money. So as a guest, when you pay Airbnb. And Airbnb only pays the host after the guest has arrived and everything is okay. That way the host knows that they have to deliver on what was promised in order to get paid. And the guest also knows that if they need to cancel or something's not right, they can call our 24/7 customer support and get their money back. And so that really aligns the incentives to bring out the best in people. The other key thing is the review system. So after each stay, the guest reviews the host. The host also reviews the guest. So both parties are accumulating a reputation, and only those with a good reputation can continue to participate.
เมื่อปี 2016 ที่ผ่านมา Airbnb ได้เปิดตัว Airbnb Trips หรือ Airbnb Experiences ที่ไม่เป็นเพียงการให้บริการเช่าที่พักแต่ขยายสู่การมอบประสบการณ์ท่องเที่ยวจากเจ้าถิ่นนั่นคือการให้คนท้องถิ่นนำเที่ยวในที่ที่นักท่องเที่ยวอาจไม่รู้จักแต่คนท้องถิ่นเขาไปกันหรือสอนทำกิจกรรมของท้องถิ่นนั้นๆ เช่น การสอนฟันดาบแบบซามูไรที่ญี่ปุ่น การสอนหาเห็ดทรัฟเฟิลในป่าที่ฟลอเรนซ์ การสอนการเล่นเซิร์ฟที่ลอสแอนเจลิส หรือการสอนแกะสลักผักผลไม้ไทย เป็นต้น
Has your business model evolved over the years?
It has a bit. So, the beginning was all about renting out homes, and that's still the majority of our business. But just recently, we launched something called experiences. Experiences are local people taking whatever it is they're passionate about or knowledgeable about and packaging it up into an experience that they can now sell to visitors from other countries. So we actually just launched this in Bangkok a few months ago, and I did an experience yesterday. I did Muay Thai boxing. I went to a local gym. They taught me everything from how to do the special dance to some boxing in the ring to an ice bath afterwards. And then we went to a professional boxing match as well. And so it was really fun. It was new to me. But I also got to interact with the host and get to know the local host as well as other the trip.
So now you're disrupting the travel agency business as well, apart from hotels.
Well, I think what we're offering is a very different value proposition. Just like with home is a very different value proposition than hotel. Our brand is all about helping travelers to more authentically connect with the local culture and the local people. And so it's very different than a large-scale kind of tour bus that takes you to the top sites. Most of these experiences are happening in people's homes on a very small-scale basis. So it's a different value proposition.
You're considered the disruption of the hotel business and now the travel and tourism business as well. How do you feel with this word, disruption? You disrupt something.
Well, different people interpret that word differently. Maybe a less controversial word is innovation. Certainly what we're doing is innovative, it's new, it's fresh. As to how it interacts with the traditional business models of hotels and tour operators, I don't think it's zero sum. Because we're offering something that is unique, what we find is there are guests out there who wouldn't have traveled as often, stayed as long, etc., if it weren't for the unique value proposition. I think you have to ask yourselves, is it good to offer consumers choice and unique choices so that they can decide what best meets their needs? And when you let consumers have more choices, they're more likely to engage, to spend money, etc. So I don't think it's a zero sum. Furthermore, tourism is expanding very quickly around the world, especially here in Thailand. You have a huge flood of travelers coming from China and all over the world. And I think Airbnb can be a really great way to showcase the country and the Thai hospitality, as well as help to scale up and meet this rising demand.
Blecharczyk ประเทศไทยเป็นจุดหมายปลายทางยอดนิยมของนักเดินทางของ Airbnb โดยเติบโตร้อยละ 150 ต่อปี นักเดินทาง 3 คนจาก 10 คนที่มาเที่ยวเมืองไทยได้พักอาศัยที่ที่พักของ Airbnb.
What's the strategy for Airbnb in Thailand? Anything specific at all?
It's a popular destination. It is the number one destination in Southeast Asia for us and one of the top in all of Asia. It's the fastest growing in Southeast Asia as well. And we're seeing a lot of travelers coming from China and elsewhere. And so I think right now our focus is really on educating, basically creating more awareness amongst local people that everyone is invited to participate. Our hosts are ordinary people, and the message we try to get out to them is that you can take your home or an extra bedroom in your home, and you can put that on our platform, and you can welcome visitors from around the world and participate in the tourism industry. People appreciate the ability to earn extra income, but what they really love is getting to meet people from around the world and being able to say that they form friendships with people from around the world. But the awareness is still low, and so a lot of our focus right now is still getting the awareness out that this is a really great opportunity for local people.
Globally, which parts of the world does Airbnb see the biggest growth? Is it Asia?
Asia as a region, yes, specifically China as a source of travelers. Chinese are now the #1 spenders on international travel in the world, and it's still growing quite quickly. You have a rising middle class that is primarily young people. There are now 400 million millennials in China, and these millennials are very different than their parents. Their parents would travel as part of big tour groups, and the young people now are traveling individually on their own, and they don't want to be a part of tour group. They want to plan it on their smartphone, and they want to have really unique experiences and take pictures of it and post it onto their social media. And actually, this is really great for Airbnb because that's what we can uniquely provide is really create unique experiences. So we're seeing great traction and growth from China, and those Chinese are going around the world using Airbnb.
What's the strategy for Airbnb globally?
We're moving beyond just accommodation to being a platform for the entire trip, which means we're thinking about all the other different opportunities within travel. The next one that we're focused on is experiences, which we just launched here in Bangkok. And we also now offer in over 20 different cities, and we have about 1,800 experiences being offered. But beyond that, we'll continue to expand into other areas over the coming years.
Such as?
When we do that? Well, we haven't announced anything officially yet, but every time we expand the business, we stick to the brand, unique brand proposition, which is helping people to more authentically travel, connect with culture, connect with people, and empower people in the process. That's what we uniquely do. So what that means is when we expand the business, we're always looking to do something unique and different, not simply resell what already exists.
A lot of people see you as a competitor, as a formidable player, but who do you see as your competitors?
I don't think we have a lot of direct competition because, again, our value proposition is unique. I don't see hotels as competitors. I think hotels have unique value proposition, and Airbnb has unique value proposition. And so there's different audience segments for both, and it's a growing market. So I don't really worry too much about that. And in terms of home rental, this is a business that works better at scale. So people were renting homes for a long time. But the reason this has exploded to be so much more popular in the last few years is because of the scale that we've been able to bring. In other words, hosts in Thailand who share their home are now much more successful because we've pulled together a global audience of people who understand what home sharing is. And we've created a platform by which you can safely book someone's home. In other words, the trust mechanisms and how we handle payment and the customer service. This is all the infrastructure that gives people the comfort and certainty to engage in this and make it into a more mainstream activity.
ปัญหาหนึ่งที่ Airbnb ต้องเผชิญคือปัญหาด้านกฎหมาย Airbnb โดนโจมตีว่าให้บริการคล้ายโรงแรมแต่ไม่ได้อยู่ภายใต้กฎหมายเช่นเดียวกับโรงแรมเช่นการไม่ได้เสียภาษีโรงแรมและการไม่มีมาตรฐานการรักษาความปลอดภัยเดียวกันกับที่โรงแรมต้องมีจึงทำให้หลายเมืองออกกฎหมายควบคุมการให้บริการห้องพักแบบ Airbnb มากขึ้น
Since day one until now, has the biggest obstacle for Airbnb business being the legal hurdles in each city that you go to?
Not quite. I would say that the biggest challenge over the last 9 years is merely the fact that we have been so successful. And with that success comes great scale. So many more employees that you hire, so many more offices that you're opening, so many customers for which you are serving. And to grow that quickly over 9 years requires, it's a great challenge. It's a high quality problem, but I think we've done it well. That's been the biggest deal, though. If you think about kind of more traditional business models, to achieve this scale would take much longer time. So we've had to grow quickly. With regards to the regulatory piece, though, of course there are challenging moments. You probably see a lot of controversy sometimes in the headlines. That being said, I think it's to be expected. I mean, if you look at other new technologies as they emerge, there's always these questions asked, which is this new technology, this new business model is completely unanticipated by the existing regulatory framework. And that doesn't mean the new activity is bad. It just means that you have to reevaluate the policies in the context of the 21st century. And that doesn't mean there shouldn't be rules. There should always be rules. But it's saying, let's take a fresh look. Let's not just use the rules from 10, 20, 30 years ago. Let's take a fresh look. And in fact, to date, there's been over 200 governments that in the last 3 or 4 years have changed their policies that explicitly now acknowledge home sharing. They still have rules in place, but they've amended their rules to allow for home sharing, as well as some kind of common sense constraints. And we expect long term for governments around the world to evolve their policies. But it takes time. It takes time to figure these things out.
Do you think if anyone wants to come up with a similar idea, do you think they'll be able to beat Airbnb somehow? Or you have become so big, no way can anyone beat me?
I never want to be too confident. It's always healthy to be a little bit paranoid. So, I think on the other hand, we have opened people's eyes to a new model, and a lot of people have witnessed that. A lot of entrepreneurs have witnessed that. And I think we've inspired a lot of new businesses to be created. And I think that's a really amazing thing. It's something I'm proud to have been a part of. For example, when we started this company, the term sharing economy didn't exist. It wasn't really until Airbnb grew and became more well-known that people started saying, oh, this is part of actually a bigger trend, and let's give it a name, call it the sharing economy. And now you've seen many other kinds of sharing economy companies start, not just in travel, but other things too. So, I think innovation is not zero sum. When one person has an idea, that allows many more people to build off of it in different ways that are not necessarily competitive. So, I think there is a lot of room for the next generation of entrepreneurs to take this in different directions and improve and continue to innovate.
You have become one of the startups that people look up to. What would be your advice for other startups to be successful like you?
Well, despite all our success, the first year was really difficult. And actually, after the first 12 months, the three of us co-founders had a conversation about whether it was time to quit. I mean, it really hadn't been going well. And all our mentors and people we'd go speak with, a lot of them really didn't honestly believe in our idea. I remember one of them actually said something like, I hope that's not the only thing you're working on. So it was a bit discouraging. And so my advice to entrepreneurs would be to say, don't get discouraged, be determined, recognize that this is a long journey, and that you're going to have failures along the way. And your mindset with regards to failure has to be that even if you have a setback, it's a learning opportunity. And so long as you're willing to try again, those learnings from failure will make you stronger and stronger. And so eventually you'll be successful as long as you're able to persevere through all the hard stuff. And of course you might have to pivot along the way. You might even have to change your idea. But eventually, as long as you're always learning, you'll be getting better and stronger.
You almost quit, so what actually pushed you to move forward?
Well, at the end of those 12 months, the three of us had a realization that despite the fact that we'd been working really hard, we hadn't been completely focused, meaning that each of us had some side projects. And at the time, I was living in a different place than the other two guys, in a different city. And so as a team, we just hadn't really fully gelled and applied ourselves 100%. And so we agreed that we'd take 3 more months. And during the 3 months, we would actually live in the same apartment. And we would have no distractions in our lives. No significant others, no hobbies, no freelancing. All we were going to do was this. And so we'd wake up at the same time together in the morning, would go to bed at the same time at night, and we would just work all day with a few breaks for eating and cooking and working out. But we were very regimented. And it was during those 3 months that things started to turn around. Also, during those 3 months, we were a part of a program, an accelerator called Y Combinator. It's very well known in Silicon Valley. And the camaraderie that we got amongst that community was very powerful. The advice and also the expectations pushed us to reflect, and it was then that things started to take off.
So what? After that period, you guys know exactly what you should do? Is that how you actually move forward?
A couple pieces of advice we got. The first was that it's better to have 100 users that love you than a million users that kind of like you. In other words, you need a core group of evangelists. So how do you do that? Another piece of advice we got is that it's okay to do things that don't scale. In other words, you're a tech company. The beautiful thing about tech is that it's so scalable. You never have to even meet your customers. But actually, in the beginning, it's really valuable to meet your customers so that you can perfect your product market fit and build that core group of evangelists. And so this was the advice that we got. And to make it real, what we did is we went to New York and we met every single one of our users in New York. Now, we only had about 40 users, so it wasn't that hard to do. And first, we went to their apartments and photographed the properties ourselves with a very good camera to take high quality photos. And then we sat with them at the computer and gave them a tutorial on how to use the website. And then we invited them to come have drinks with us. And we would, over drinks, tell them the story of the last year and our entrepreneurial journey so that they really started to like us as people, right? They really suddenly wanted us to succeed. And so we built this tight relationship and we turned them into evangelists for us. And in doing so, we also helped them to curate their profile on Airbnb. We made their properties look really great with nice photo, good price, good description. And once we did those things, suddenly folks started booking the apartments. In other words, people from around the world want to go to New York City. New York City is very expensive, but now they could see on our website beautiful properties at affordable prices, and that's when things started to work.
When you travel, did you only stay at Airbnb?
Yes, I've stayed at hundreds at this point. I'm also a host on Airbnb, so I've had hundreds of people stay in my home too.
So how do you choose? Like when you come here to Bangkok, how do you actually pick?
Well, it depends on the kind of trip. This is a business trip, so it's all about kind of convenience. But I travel a lot with my family too, right? And I have 2 kids now, and so then you want a little extra space. You want to be in a neighborhood that's fun. I think one of the best things about Airbnb is you can be in some of the local neighborhoods that have a lot of character and personality. So I really try to figure out what are some of the interesting neighborhoods to be in that aren't as typical. And then a lot of our properties have a lot of personality. And so, it depends. Sometimes I'm looking for a more kind of upscale fancy place. But sometimes, I just want to stay with a host and actually meet a local person. So on Airbnb, you can both find private rooms in people's homes where you live in the same home, or you can rent entire places. And so I do both.
So it will always be Airbnb and nothing else.
That's correct, yeah.
สิ่งที่ Airbnb ทำนับว่าล้ำมากในวันที่เริ่มต้นจนหลายคนคิดว่าไม่น่าจะเป็นจริงได้แต่ด้วยความเชื่อมั่นในความคิดของตัวเองความทุ่มเทและการไม่ยอมแพ้ของผู้ก่อตั้งทั้ง3ทำให้ Airbnb เติบโตและประสบความสำเร็จอย่างทุกวันนี้จนกลายเป็นต้นแบบที่สำคัญของ Sharing Economy หรือเศรษฐกิจแบ่งปันที่หลายๆประเทศต้องหันมาให้ความสนใจหวังว่าเรื่องราวของ Airbnb จะเป็นแรงบันดาลใจที่ดีให้กับทุกท่านที่กำลังคิดเริ่มต้นสิ่งใหม่ๆค่ะและขอขอบคุณสำหรับการติดตามรายการมองเรามองโลกแล้วพบกันใหม่ในโอกาสหน้านะคะสวัสดีค่ะ